Imagine waking up, you make your morning coffee, and you walk outside to find this bright red condemned sign hammered right into the front door of your house.
Oh, wow, that sounds like a total nightmare.
Right. And the thing is, there are no visible cracks in the foundation, the roof isn't leaking, the plumbing is working beautifully, but suddenly there's just, this crowd of people standing on your lawn whispering that your house is totally obsolete
Mm.
and that you need to move out immediately.
It is a completely panic-inducing scenario.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we look at the digital landscape, that feeling of sudden, inexplicable obsolescence, well, it happens constantly.
Well, all the time.
Software moves so incredibly fast that the ground just feels like it's shifting under your feet,
Oh.
even when everything you've built is technically fine.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Because if you run a Shopify store right now, and as we sit here in July 2026, I know millions of you do, you might actually be feeling that exact same panic about your digital storefront. So the question we're tackling today is a heavy one. Is my Shopify store's Dawn theme suddenly obsolete? We are pulling from this massive, really comprehensive July 2026 guide titled Shopify Horizon Theme, Should You Migrate from Dawn? To get to the bottom of this.
And there's a lot to unpack in there.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to get into hidden migration costs, some major page speed surprises, and exactly what breaks when you try to switch. So whether you're hands-on in the code every day or managing the business strategy, or, you're just fascinated by how e-commerce tech evolves, the sheer information overload around Shopify's new Horizon theme is intense.
It really is.
So our mission today is to cut right through all that marketing noise and find out what actually matters for your storefront. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, let's start with the panic itself, because, that red condemned sign on your digital house, it's largely a mirage. I mean, before we talk about the logistics of moving into a new piece of digital real estate, you really have to establish if there's actually a fire forcing you to leave your current one.
I am so glad you brought that up. Because if you hang around developer Slack channels or you read e-commerce Twitter, the rumors are just flying.
Yeah, doom scrolling is real.
Right. The prevailing narrative out there is that Dawn is legacy software, it's dead, and Horizon is now the mandatory default. I mean, people are acting like Shopify is going to pull the plug on Dawn tomorrow, and that if you don't migrate, your store is going to break.
But when you actually look at the underlying code repositories and the official communications, that narrative completely falls apart. There is absolutely no official deprecation of the Dawn theme.
Wait, none at all?
None. There is no sunset date. There's no forced migration. A Shopify staff member even went on the community forum a while back to explicitly state that, hey, Dawn themes are used by millions. They're fully supported, and there is zero rush to migrate.
And the code itself actually proves it. I mean, Dawn's repository is still highly active. Version 15.5.0 literally just shipped in June 2026. So I look at it this way. If a piece of software is actively getting updates, bug fixes, new versions, it is, by definition, not dead. It's kind of like buying a new smartphone on launch day just because it dropped, right? Even though your current phone makes flawless calls, takes great photos, and just downloaded the latest OS perfectly fine.
You don't actually need the upgrade.
Right, you really don't. So if Dawn is still getting major updates in mid-2026, where did this whole default replacement myth even originate?
It stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of what Horizon actually is. People see the marketing around, new design. Distinct free themes. And they're all built on a brand new architecture called theme blocks. Horizon is running on its own entirely separate version line. By mid-2026, it actually hit version 4.1.1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Shopify hasn't replaced the track. They've basically built a parallel track.
Which means you, as a store owner, have breathing room. I mean, you aren't being evicted. You can make a strategic, calculated choice rather than a reactive one driven by all those Slack rumors.
Exactly. You can take your time.
But that introduces an interesting dilemma, doesn't it? If we don't have to switch, why are so many people even considering it? Like, what does this new Horizon architecture do that Dawn simply cannot?
Well, to understand the appeal, we really have to look under the hood at that fundamental architectural shift. I mentioned theme blocks earlier. To grasp why that's such a big deal, we have to look at what came before it.
Okay, and lay it on me.
So Dawn operates on what Shopify calls Online Store 2.0, or OS 2.0. In that system, you have sections, like, say, a feature product section. And inside that section, you have smaller pieces called section blocks.
Right, the pieces that make up the whole section.
Exactly. But the hard limitation with Dawn is that those section blocks are strictly locked to that single specific section. They are not portable.
Let me try to wrap my head around that structurally. So a block of code built for the header section can only ever live in the headers. If I want that exact same text formatting down in my footer, I can't just drag it down there.
Yep.
I'd have to actually get a developer to write a brand new block specifically for the footer.
Precisely. The system is incredibly rigid. But Horizon introduces theme blocks. And the technical difference is just massive. Theme blocks are their own independent Liquid files. Liquid being Shopify's templating language, of course.
Right, right.
Because these blocks exist as standalone files rather than being, hard-coded into a parent section, they are completely reusable across any section. And they are nestable. You can literally layer them on top of the old OS 2.0 sections.
So if Dawn is like having a set of Lego blocks that are just super glued together into preset walls, you can move the whole wall, sure, but you can't take the individual bricks apart.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
Horizon basically dissolves the glue. It lets you take a single window or a single door block, pull it out, and snap it literally anywhere you want on the foundation.
What's fascinating here is how this shifts the line of who actually gets to edit a storefront. I mean, this isn't just a technical upgrade to the back end. It's a massive shift in power.
How so?
Well, changes that previously required an engineer to go into the back end and write custom Liquid code can now be done directly by the merchant. Right in the drag-and-drop theme editor. It moves control away from the developer and puts it directly into the hands of the store owner.
And when you look at the new editor workflow, I mean, the upgrades are incredibly slick. You've got this hover to preview feature, so you aren't constantly clicking and waiting for the page to refresh just to see what a block looks like.
Oh, that saves so much time.
It really does. Plus, there's inline canvas editing, meaning you can edit text right on the live page instead of, digging through some tiny text box in a side panel. You can even copy a block from one template and just paste it into another. It just feels so much more fluid.
It is significantly faster for day-to-day site management. But beyond just the editor aesthetics, Horizon includes a massive built-in functional win, especially for merchants selling business to business.
Oh, the B2B stuff.
Yeah. Back in late 2025, Shopify integrated comprehensive B2B features directly into the Horizon framework.
And this is a huge deal for wholesale. We're talking volume pricing, quantity rules, quick order lists. In the Dawn era, if you wanted to offer bulk discounts to wholesale clients, but retail pricing to regular customers on the exact same site, you traditionally had to install these really heavy third-party apps or pay for highly complex custom code.
There's a huge pain point.
With Horizon, the foundation for B2B is baked right in out of the box.
Which saves businesses a tremendous amount of money on app subscriptions. But, we have to balance that excitement a bit. We're giving store owners unglued Lego bricks, a fluid editor, and all these powerful built-in tools.
Sounds like a dream.
That much freedom sounds incredible, especially when you throw artificial intelligence into the mix. But we really have to ask if this system is as foolproof as the marketing suggests.
Yeah, that brings us to the AI illusion. Horizon integrates heavily with Shopify's AI, which is known as Sidekick. Inside the editor, you can theoretically use Sidekick to generate these new theme blocks just by typing a plain text prompt.
Which sounds like magic.
It does. You type, build me a promotional banner for a summer sale with a countdown timer, and it just magically appears on the canvas.
That is the marketing promise. But the functional reality is a bit more nuanced. Ed Coase, who's a prominent developer who actually migrated his own store to Horizon, he grounded these expectations perfectly.
What did he say?
He noted that AI-generated blocks are a great starting point, but they rarely give you exactly what you want on the first try. The AI will generate a block that is about 80% done. It still requires manual edits to make it perfect.
Let me push back on that for a second, though, because an AI giving you something that is 80% done, that still sounds amazing for a non-developer. What does that missing 20% actually look like in practice?
The missing 20% is usually the polish that makes a site actually look professional. I mean, the AI might generate the structure of a promotional banner, but the text padding is weirdly off-center.
Ah, I see.
Or maybe it looks great on a huge desktop monitor, but when you shrink the browser down to a mobile size, the image scales poorly and covers up the Buy Now button. It's a first draft. It is absolutely not a finished, ready-to-publish product.
That feels like the ultimate double-edged sword. Giving a store owner this much unchecked design power, combined with an AI that only gets things mostly right, it's like letting a restaurant manager physically move the kitchen appliances around during the lunch rush just because they can.
That is a perfect analogy.
If you don't understand the flow of the workspace, or in this case, the basic principles of web design, you are going to create a massive bottleneck. You're just giving people the power to make their stores look terrible much faster.
That is a very real risk. The freedom of Horizon means you, the merchant, are now acting as the art director. You really have to be extra vigilant about your own design choices. Now, to be fair, Shopify did put some hard structural guardrails in place.
Okay, so it isn't truly infinite.
No, it's not. A template can hold a maximum of 25 sections and up to 1,250 blocks across all those sections.
A 12,250 block cap is generous, but yeah, it's a necessary ceiling. So we're giving merchants the ability to generate a massive amount of modular code, and they have over 1,000 blocks to play with per page. But what happens when a customer actually tries to load all of those independent, unglued pieces on a smartphone?
And here comes the performance plot twist.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because you would naturally assume that a brand new architecture in 2026 would just scream, right, it should be lightning fast.
You'd think so.
But independent agency testing from CraftShift and Omni Themes reveals the most surprising metric of this entire discussion. They ran Google page speed tests on clean demo stores for both Dawn and Horizon. On desktop, they basically tie. It's a 96 for Dawn and a 97 for Horizon.
Very respectable numbers.
But on mobile, a clean Dawn store scored an 82. A clean Horizon store scored a 52.
This raises a really important question about how we understand software flexibility. I mean, a 30-point drop on mobile is staggering, especially when you consider that the vast majority of e-commerce traffic is entirely mobile right now.
Exactly why I'm struggling with this. Isn't the golden rule of tech that newer software is supposed to be leaner and more optimized? Why would a shiny new framework perform so much worse on the devices that everyone actually uses?
It all comes down to processing overhead. Flexibility inherently taxes the browser.
Ah.
When you have a rigid theme like Dawn, the sections are relatively static. The browser's rendering engine knows exactly what to expect. The DOM, the document object model, which is basically the structural map of the web page, it's predictable and it's relatively small.
So the browser doesn't really have to think very hard to draw the page.
Correct. But Horizon relies on these nestable, reusable, independent Lookwood files that can be layered up to that 1,250 block cap. When a user on a smartphone clicks your link, their mobile browser suddenly has to calculate, render, and assemble all of those individual independent pieces on the fly.
Oh, wow.
And mobile processors simply aren't as powerful as desktop processors, so they really struggle with that heavy lifting. You're essentially trading raw, out-of-the-box speed for granular structural freedom.
I see where you're going with this. The superglue holding Dawn together might have been restrictive for the person designing the store, but it made the walls incredibly sturdy and really easy to transport for the customer loading the page.
Exactly.
But we also need to add a bit of context to these page speed scores, don't we? I mean, a 52 out of 100 sounds abysmal, but these were tested on completely blank demo stores.
Absolutely. We really have to contextualize what these numbers mean in the wild. Real-world site speed depends on so much more than just the baseline theme architecture.
What else factors in?
Well, your actual speed is heavily dictated by how well you compress your high-resolution product images, what messy custom tracking code you've injected into the header, and critically, how many third-party apps you have running in the background.
So the real takeaway here isn't that Horizon is fundamentally broken. It's that migrating to the newest, shiniest theme is definitively not a guaranteed speed win.
Not at all.
If you have a slow Dawn store and you migrate to Horizon hoping the new architecture will just magically fix your loading times, you are going to be severely disappointed. It might actually get worse.
And that reality check about performance leads us directly into the logistical reality of the migration process itself.
Right, the actual moving day.
Yeah. If a merchant accepts the speed trade-off and they really want that block-level flexibility, what does moving actually look like?
But the harsh truth of this entire process is this. There is no magic migration button.
Let me echo that, because it is the single most important technical detail for anyone listening. There is no automated tool provided by Shopify to seamlessly port your customizations from Dawn over to Horizon.
If you've updated a theme in the past, say bumping your store from Dawn version 14 to version 15, your customizations usually just copy forward. It's a relatively painless update.
Very straightforward.
But switching to an entirely different architectural framework is a completely different beast. Moving to Horizon is kind of like moving into a new house across town. Your physical address stays the same, sure, but you have to leave all your custom-built furniture behind and either buy new stuff or build it all from scratch.
That's a really great way to visualize the data layer versus the theme layer. Your actual business data is perfectly safe.
Good to know.
Your product listings, your inventory counts, your customer records, your blog posts, all of that lives in your Shopify admin database. That travels with you automatically. What breaks, or rather what gets left behind, is everything managed inside the theme code itself.
So the design elements.
Yeah, your custom CSS styling, any bespoke liquid sections a developer wrote for you, and crucially, your app integrations.
Oh, the third-party apps are a massive pain point in this migration. You essentially have to reinstall and reconfigure every single app into the new Horizon theme. And there is a very specific technical catch with app blocks, the app blocks. They do not work in statically rendered sections.
This trips up a lot of developers.
I want to break down why that happens. Static sections are hard-coded layouts within the theme. Because they are static, they lack the dynamic hooks necessary to constantly ping a third-party server.
Why?
It's like trying to plug a smart TV into a wall that has no electrical wiring behind the drywall. It just won't power on. So you can migrate your store, publish the Horizon theme, and suddenly realize your customer review widget or your loyalty points banner has completely vanished because you dropped it into a static section.
Which is exactly why mapping your app dependencies is a mandatory first step. Rebuilding your app stack, your custom code, and your layouts takes time. And in e-commerce, time is quite literally money.
Let's talk about the financial reality of this, because the migration costs really fall into three very distinct tiers, depending on the current state of your store. Tier 1 is the simplest. You are running a stock or near stock Dawn theme. What's the financial damage there?
For a purely stock Dawn store, migrating is basically free. It only costs a few hours of your own time.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, you just install the free Horizon theme, you open the new editor, you recreate your basic homepage and product pages using the new blog system, and you're done. It is entirely a DIY project.
But tier 2 is where the budget actually starts to matter. Let's say you have Dawn, but over the last few years, you've hired a freelancer to add some custom CSS or build a really unique FAQ section.
In that scenario, you're going to have to hire a developer to port that specific custom code over or completely rewrite it to function within Horizon's new block architecture.
And what does that run?
The going benchmark for that kind of freelance Shopify development is between $20 to $100 an hour. It's a manageable expense, but it's one you must explicitly budget for.
And then we hit tier 3, which is the heavy hitter. This is for merchants with a heavily customized store, or maybe those running on a vintage pre-2021 theme that doesn't even utilize the online store 2.0 architecture.
If you fall into tier 3, you are no longer executing a simple migration. You're undergoing a full-scale redesign and platform rebuild.
Yikes.
Yeah, that requires a comprehensive project scope. Outsourcing that level of work runs anywhere from $500 to $10,000 if you use a high-end freelancer, and it can scale all the way up to $75,000 if you hire a full-service agency to manage the transition.
$75,000 just to get your store back to parity with where you started, albeit on a new framework. That is a staggering investment, and it forces a very strategic question. If you are going to spend real money on development, at what point does a premium paid theme become a better investment than fighting with the free Horizon theme?
It is a calculation every scaling business needs to make. Premium paid themes like Impulse, Warehouse, or Motion, they usually run a one-time licensing fee of around $100 to $450.
Right.
The value proposition of a premium theme is out-of-the-box functionality. Let's say you have a massive product catalog and you absolutely need deep department store style mega menus, sticky add to cart bars, and localized countdown timers. You could pay a developer an hourly rate to custom build all of those features into the free Horizon theme, sure.
Which could easily cost thousands of dollars in billable hours.
Exactly. Or you could simply spend $350 on a premium theme where those exact features are already built in, rigorously tested, and officially supported by the theme developer.
It's a classic build versus buy scenario. It just comes down to valuing your time, assessing your budget, and really knowing your specific feature requirements.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this sobering reality check about development costs, vanishing apps, and lost custom code is exactly why you can never just hit publish on a new theme. The absolute mandatory first step of any migration process must be a comprehensive pre-migration audit.
You install Horizon as an unpublished preview theme. It sits in the background. You do not touch your live money-making store.
Please don't.
You go into the preview, poke around the editor, try to rebuild your core pages, and actively look for what breaks. You figure out if you belong in the DIY tier or the $10,000 tier before your customers ever see it and before you commit a single dollar. It's basically hiring a home inspector to check the plumbing on the new house before you sign the mortgage.
That audit will tell you everything you need to know.
Which brings us to the end of our deep dive. So what does this all mean? When we strip away all the marketing hype, the panic on developer forums, and the allure of those shiny new AI generators, what is the ultimate golden rule for a store owner trying to make a decision today?
The consensus from top developers is remarkably unified on this. Migrating to a new theme purely for the sake of being on the newest technology rarely justifies the operational headache and the financial cost. You should only undertake a migration to Horizon if it coincides with a planned, strategic redesign of your business. If you are already budgeting to rebrand, refresh your user interface, and fundamentally rethink your customer journey, that is the perfect moment to adopt Horizon as your new foundation.
But executing a migration as a standalone IT task just to have the newest version number is basically a massive waste of resources.
Exactly.
Don't spend thousands of dollars and dozens of hours rebuilding a digital storefront that you weren't actually ready to redesign. It's incredibly practical advice.
It really is. But looking across all of this shifting architecture, there is a final thought that really lingers for me.
What's that?
We spent this entire deep dive analyzing the massive shift from developer control to merchant control.
Sure.
These nestable theme blocks and AI-generated layouts are democratizing web design down to an atomic level. I mean, anyone can build anything now.
The guardrails are totally off.
They are. But as e-commerce platforms push this hyper-customization out to millions of merchants who have no formal background in user experience, well, it raises a fascinating question for the future of online shopping.
I'm listening.
Will this absolute structural freedom actually lead to a wild, chaotic internet? For the last decade, e-commerce has relied on standard, intuitive layouts. Shoppers know exactly where the cart is, where the filters are, how to navigate. If every single merchant can easily reinvent the wheel, dissolve the glue, and put the doors and windows wherever they please, how long until the customer simply forgets how to drive?
Oh, wow. Total creative control for the merchant might just result in total navigation confusion for the person actually trying to hand over their credit card. That is a heavy thought to chew on as platforms give us more and more freedom.
It really is.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope breaking down the architecture helped clear the air and lower the blood pressure a bit. Remember, before you ever click that Install Theme button, think critically about your business goals, conduct a thorough preview audit, and rest easy knowing that despite what the crowd on the lawn is whispering, your current digital house is still standing strong. We'll catch you next time.